This video will be of all of my fixed blades in my collection that fall into the medium to small category, small to medium knives. And I have a lot of them, so I'm going to get started. This is the Civivi Tomashi-e. Let's see, designed by Bob Terzuola. I say Tomashi-e because that's what I think how you would pronounce it, but Tomashi is what most people say. And I have no experience with Japanese language, so they're probably right. Great sheath. I put my own clip on it. I can just about carry that in the waistband. That's about as large as I can go. No particular order to these. I'm just pulling them out as they are here. Here's the Stinger from, or the Sting from CRKT, and designed by the late great A.G. Russell. One piece of drop forge 1050 steel. I got this one wickedly sharp, and this used to be our bathroom knife, but since it's a high carbon steel, the edge would rust, so it is no longer a bathroom knife. Okay, here is the Cold Steel out of print, no longer being made, Peacekeeper 2. This was the smaller of the two daggers that came in this line. I got this on eBay a few years back. Sort of a blunted tip, but would still do the trick. Very, very sharp, Aus 8. I love about this is that it's hollow ground. Almost all of the Cold Steel daggers do this. They're hollow ground, but also have nice belly. So it's not just great for piercing and thrusting, but great for slashing in either direction because you've got, you've got a belly and a very sharp one at that. Let me see about the light over here. Let's see. Does that help? Yeah, not really. Okay. Well, I don't like that either. I'll bounce it. Lighting is always an issue. Okay, so this is the Safekeeper 2. Always wanted the big one. Had one of these, gave it to a friend years ago, regretted it, bought it again. All right, like I said, no particular order. What do we have here? This is a Spyderco Ronin 2 in the original sheath, which for around the house in sweats works fine, but it's like the size of Texas. So I've always intended to make a smaller sheath, just never have. The Ronin is great. This is the Michael Janich fixed blade version of the Yojimbo and the Yojumbo. Very thin hollow ground BD1 blade steel. That's sort of a budget blade steel. And then very thin G10 handle slabs. Is that G10? Yeah, that's G10. Very thin G10. The whole package is very thin and pretty wicked. Also, if you like this knife, don't be shy. It is an inexpensive Spyderco as far as that goes. So I think these can be had for under $100. This thing is great. This one was a gift from Michael Janich, which is awesome, and Spyderco, I suppose. Thank you very much. Let's see. Right here in my back pocket, this is the Sencut Waxahachie. A very, very appealing clip point blade to me. They put the point way down low below the center line of the knife, so the point can be used for all sorts of utility chores without having to do too much bending of the wrist to get it where it needs to go, but also in a thrust or in some sort of puncturing motion, no matter how your wrist is turned, since that point is basically center line, you'll always know where it is. Very nice handle, is very comfortable. These lightening holes also give you a great place to for purchase of the fingers, and if you're doing any sort of re-gripping, they help in changing your grip. Very nice jimping, awesome knife. What is this? This is 9CR 18 MOV blade steel. A great one to carry front scout, by the way. All right, what's this in my pocket here? Okay, I got the, this is the Serrata by Spyderco, and it is cast 440C, a big slab of cast 440C. Starts off at, what is this? This is like 5/16 of an inch here, and then it has a distal taper. This is a pretty cool knife. Serrata, to me, I always think of Eskrima, and I think of fighting, but this is not really a fighting knife. This is more, I guess, of an outdoors knife, but it has a profile of a scalper, basically. Very cool knife. Spyderco makes some really nice fixed blade knives, and this is definitely one of them. This was a gift from my brother-in-law James, and it came a few years back. I love this one. All right. Speaking of Spyderco, we got the which one is this? So it's VG10. This is like a chef's knife, a incredibly beautifully contoured, comfortable canvas micarta handle. And this is the part that reminds me of a chef's knife. It's got a decent thickness, fully flat ground, super sharp VG10. And this is the something 2, and I just can't remember what the hell this is called now. Someone help me. Someone help me. This one always eludes me. A very nice outdoors knife. A classy dad's sort of campsite knife, I think. Not that the dad has to be classy, but the knife itself is very nice. And I like how the micarta has patina just from holding it around the edge. So that is the Spyderco something 2. Oh, I can't remember what it is. I do apologize. Here we have this is off-grid knives. This is D2. They always talk about how it's cryogenically treated. It is in this case, and this is the Hoglet. Great little. I always thought this would be a great cheese knife for like adventure picnicking, you know. But just a really nicely done cleaver type blade with a good point, and probably the most oblique grind of any off-grid knife, and yet still zips through cardboard like it's not even there. This is a great utility knife. Comes with its own little G10 bent clip that, it does all right. It's okay. The Hoglet from Off-Grid Knives. Okay, from another one from Spyderco here. Here is the Street Bowie from Fred Perrin, French badass. This one actually throws really nicely. I throw this into the old desk that is now a throwing target. Great ergonomics, very, very emblematic of Fred Perrin, where you have this sort of traditional French fighting knife. A traditional French fighting knife looks a little bit like that, just minus the choil, and looks a bit like a kitchen knife. Well, here he does a lot of buoys where he'll clip the blade like that, and then put this non-circular choil there, and then it cants the blade down for great slashing and swiping, and then puts the point where you want it. I had a chance to meet Fred Perrin at Blade Show 2022, and he was so cool, and he has a myriad ways of hurting people, and he showed a lot of cool little trinkets that he'd put together, little weapons that he'd put together that are sneaky and cool. All right, so here is the Spyderco Coban, probably one of their best-selling knives of all time. Very thin, slender, craton, Coke bottle-shaped handle. Fits great in the hand. You've got a little rubber guard there that you can put your thumb up against and, for a thrust, stop you from coming up onto that blade. You get the full thin blade thickness to just about the tip, like a classic American Tanto, and it's a pretty steep point there, and that's great for utility if you're going to use this for utility, but also for strength in going into something that's very, very hard. And then you have that secondary tip, which is also good for utility if you're going to be opening boxes with this, which would be kind of weird, but it's also good for percussive hits, kind of as if this were a drumstick. If you're fighting someone and you hit them on the forehead, this is something that Lynn Thompson always recommended. If you're fighting with an American Tanto, hit them on the head with that tip, and on the forehead, they will gush blood, it will go into their eyes, and they won't be able to see. Pleasant stuff, but I just like this because it's a great sort of EDC Tanto. This is good for sweatpants at home, if you will. Here's another wicked cold steel. This is the Tiger, what do they call this? Steel Tiger, a big 5-inch karambit. It is just horrifyingly wicked, this thing. When I first got it, I got it on a whim. I've always wanted it, and years and years. And I lost the Desperado that way, never got a chance to buy it because I never bought it. I thought, I had a panic. Maybe this is going to go that way and I'll never have a Steel Tiger. I bought it. I took a couple of swipes at boxes, and it is terrifying. Pretty big for a karambit, but just a wicked tool and weapon. All right, and then here is the new Demko Armiger. One of the USPs of the Demko sheaths is that you can take them apart and clean them out, even in the field. Here is the drop point. It's a bayonet ground, sharp on this first third, which I love. Here I couldn't resist. I got the serrated. They also have plain edge for this. Plain edge and serrated tanto, and then plain edge clip point only. Black or green handle, black blade, because this is 80 CRV, which is a very tough outdoor steel, but not very resistant to corrosion. Something I love about the design here, very thoughtful. It is a symmetrical handle, so he gave you jimping on the top side, the spine to the top side of the handle, so you can index it in the dark and know which way your primary edge is. He did the same thing on the butt here, on the pommel, so you can tell if you're oriented properly, even if you're in the dark. So very cool. Love this Armiger knife. All right, let's see what else we got here. We have a couple of Tops knives. This was a gift from This Old Sword. This is the, what do they call this thing? Oh, the Backbite. That's right, the Backbite. Designed by a Russian Sistema dude, but can be used a lot like a Pikal style knife. It's got a wedge-like, this is a gouging, tearing, splitting kind of nasty edge. Same thing up here for forward slashing and such. Yeah, the Backbite, a real weird and interesting implement. Tops is great for these kind of small defensive knives. Another small defensive knife from Tops is the Rapid Strike. Mine I got double-edged. You can buy it either way. Such a great little defensive knife. It does come a little bit longer, and it comes to a pyramidal peak for glass breaking. I found that very uncomfortable, and I like to carry it tipped down like this, so I just ground that over, smoothed it out. Put some grooves in the handle too to make it a little easier to grab out of the awesome sheath that has a really nice clip too. Another cold steel. This one was the knife I had on me on 9/11 when I was running around New York City. This was in my bag. The Culloden, very cool knife, and I love how this one kind of curves out. The pommel curves out, which makes it easier to tug out, whether you have it Pikal style or edge out. Just makes it an easier way to grab this very thin handle. Based on the Skiandu, the sock knife of the Scottish warriors. Very cool. Culloden, I guess, was a battle. Very cool old style jimping. I love the old style jimping. You get some pretty serious grip there. It's like file work. Okay, let me re-up here, grab a couple of other knives. I know, it's a little ridiculous. It's a lot ridiculous, but we're gonna go for it. All right, let's see. Here we have another Tops knife. This is an awesome one, the Felony Stop, designed by, is this Richard Daraspina? Who designed this? Lacey Szabo designed this one. Really cool dagger style blade here. And then you've got that thumb scoop and a pistol grip, which just is great. It's so secure in the hand. It's unreal how good this feels. $10.95 blade steel. It's a 1/4 inch slab, but ground, or maybe that's 3/16, but ground down nice and thin, super sharp. And then in reverse grip, that thumb swale, which is nice and heavily jimped, can be used for trapping, limb trapping like this. Imagine that, biting and you know, trapping the limbs of someone you're fighting with a knife. I know it's pretty unrealistic, but it's there. And Lacey Zabo, the guy who designed this, he's a former Marine and police officer and martial artist. He could probably use this to great effect. The beautiful felony stop, you can still get that one. Here is another Tops knife. This is the Pt.6. Cool little knife, very, very sharp. Pocket tanto and a beautiful full grain leather pocket sheath. You can also mount it horizontally or vertically on your belt. Could never quite get the handle. I tried wrapping cord around it, and I considered making a micarta handle slabs for it. Just never have. I do find that this makes it easier to grab the electrical tape. Here is, I don't know how this got in there, but this is a knife that I made myself. The best part about this knife is the handle. Very nicely done, if I do say so myself. Jimping on the back. This isn't supposed to be in here, but this knife does duty. This sits behind a framed photograph in our foyer, just in case you have to pull it out and stab someone. Okay, let's see. Next up, okay, we're heading into more custom stuff. Here is the Monkey Thumper from Black Rock Knives. Beautiful double-edged karambit style leaf clip. It's like a clip point leaf, I don't know. It's like a clip point blade, I guess. Karambit style. Really, really beautifully done. I believe this is 80 CRV. 80 CRV2. When I just hold it regular in a standard grip, I don't use the ring. This makes for an excellent pommel. And you can do the same this way in reverse grip. You don't really need that hole. But for the manipulation and all that stuff, it's great. Beautifully done. Asked him to double edge it for me. Ken Vihikite, the knife maker. Black Rock Knives. All right, the EDC Tanto. This is the one that I've probably carried the most, besides the Nova 1, which you'll see in a second. This is Hogtooth Knives. And Matt Chase, yeah, this has schmutz on it. Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives. He's a former Marine Scout sniper who's been making knives for about 30 years. Before and after his service, during his service. Learned from some masters. He's a journeyman and a friend, and just makes incredible knives. This is from his regular lineup of stock removal knives. His main bread and butter is forging beautifully made custom buoys and hunting knives. And I'll show you a fighter he made for me. But this one carries so nicely that I collaborated with him on the Nova 1 and basically took his handle platform, changed up the blade. This is the prototype with my logo all big on it. But we made these knives. He made 27 of them, and we sold them to some lucky folks. Changed up some things, but here is the prototype. Maroon micarta, linen micarta, just intoxicating. Okay, that's the Nova 1. Here's a Fred Perrin neck knife made by, I can't remember who this company is, but they're a little small batch. This thing is really incredibly sharp, full flat ground. I mean, listen, just sounds sharp. Great. I bought this from Fred Perrin. I told you I was talking to him. This is what I bought from him. He had a lot of some custom handmade knives that are really cool. They're a little bit rustic, if you will, and I really like the look of them. Fred Perrin. Okay, here is a Eric Kramer. So Kramer Custom Knives Voodoo. I love this thing. I asked him to do it double-edged. He does these occasionally double-edged. I haven't seen him do too many of these recently. He's been doing a lot of his SOG buoy-style knives. I think he calls them he has a cool name for them. I can't remember now. But you got to check out Kramer Custom Knives on Instagram. His stuff is so awesome. This is 154 cm, hollow ground, deeply hollow ground, very slicey and thin. This top edge, of course, is oblique. It's good for pull cuts and that kind of thing. But you're not going to be slicing cheese with that. Let's see, there's his maker's mark. Beautiful blade. All right, a couple more. Oh, apparently I'm keeping some of my, all right, I carried this for over a year, so I'll show it, but I made it. This is the Virginia Eagle, I was calling this, a Bowie knife I made, all back cut and curve here, and had this heat treated, this is 1095 blade steel. I had it heat treated out in at True Grit in Sacramento. It's a little rough, but it's a great knife, man. I gotta say, this knife is, I carried it a lot. I might go back to carrying this, but that was when I carried on the small of my back, and this, I could carry a slightly larger knife. Okay, so here, back to the real stuff. Here is the Fire Ant, a custom by Dirk Pinkerton. Dirk Pinkerton, who designs and has beautiful, like a huge body of work being made by the likes of Concept and Kaiser and Beyond EDC and others, but he also is a master grinder, and he does these beautiful, beautiful custom blades, many of them based on historical and ethnographic examples. But this one is one all of his own. This triple-edged reverse tanto is just so wicked. I love this thing. Ended up making a folding version of this for Kaiser, the Fire Ant. That blue and black paper micarta is just luscious too. Great sheath. Okay, Pocket Rocket 3-inch dagger from Auxiliary Manufacturing. One of my favorite EDCs. Definitely a great self-defense knife. And even though it's straight, you know, I always talk about how I like a curved handle for EDC better. Even though it's straight, it actually fits perfectly in that crease that runs from your outer hip down to your crotch. And fits in there perfectly, so you sit, you drive, whatever it is, this one fits in there perfectly. Also, it somehow makes a cool sound when you pull it from the sheath. Listen. Makes a zipping sound. Yeah, perfectly ground quad edges here, or dual edges, perfectly ground quad bevels here. Michael Jarvis of Auxiliary Manufacturing is doing really, really beautiful stuff. Case in point, here is his pocket Bowie. And where the Pocket Rocket is thin, this is a chunker. This is a great little utility knife to always have on you. I like to carry it in the waistband with this cord. The cord wraps around my waist, wraps around the belt about 9 o'clock, and I just put this right behind my belt buckle, between my waist and between my skin and my pants, basically, and I can draw it like this, or I can draw it reverse grip. And with that coffin style handle, either grip is great, you know, equally great, basically. That's ADCRV2. I love the recurve, a nice stout blade here. The Pocket Bowie from Auxiliary Manufacturing and Michael Jarvis. You definitely have to check him out. Here's BMG. Okay, so I did something with the handle and I never quite fixed it. But this is my BGM knives. Which one is this? This is I think he calls this the Quaken, even though it looks like a little Bowie. Super thinly hollow ground. John is an incredible grinder, as we all know. Many of you have probably had your blades reground by him, and his original blades are just amazing. This is like so super thin, it's ridiculous. And I like the cord wrap. I had a jute wrap that I put over this for a while, and then I took it off. But great knife, and the sheath is so tight. And I just wear it on the belt horizontally like this. That's how he recommends it, so that's how I do it. Next is from, what is this? 1558 Forge. This is Josh Mastersmith, Josh Fisher. A beautiful recurve knife. He does this like the hogtooth knives. This is the sort of production model from someone who does forging, you know, exquisitely forged knives. those guys have to make things that are a little quicker and easier to make and have little production runs. I got this from him at the 2022 Blade Show. This is called the Revere. It's 154 cm blade steel. I just think it's gorgeous. I love the way it looks. Nice Coke bottle feel. Came with a beautiful leather sheath. I opted for Kydex. Now I regret it. I wish I got the leather sheath. Kydex is a little bit tight, but it works. 1558 Revere. Okay, here we go. This is the 302 from Aaron Bieber Knives, AB Knives. I find this to be astoundingly beautiful. Very thin, again, flat ground, super slicey, wickedly sharp. Kind of a clip point, but point down low. Kind of half clip point, half Warncliffe. Warncliffe and a clip point meet up in a bar, that kind of thing. You got the white ray skin. He does a beautiful Tsukamaki wrap here. Those alternating peaks and valleys. Your hand really, really sinks into that so nicely. I went to art school. I went to the same art school as Aaron Bieber. We went there at different times, but we discovered this in talking at Blade Show. This one rides in the front, also in the waistband. I use that little loop, goes over the belt. Draws super easy like this, and then you can also just reach around and pull it out like this. So the Aaron Bieber custom knife, this is the 302. Definitely check out Aaron Bieber AB Knives on Instagram. This is the Fenrir Knives. Not Fenrir Knives. I'm sorry, this is the Vandrir Knives. Fenrir. Sorry, two words that don't roll off the tongue super well. Had Curtis on the show and talked about his work in doing certain kinds of law enforcement and the knives and the way he uses the knives and tomahawks on his belt and the stuff that he makes. And I had to get the Fenrir. I really like the ergonomics of this knife. I love the handle and how it fits in hand. So yeah, wicked knife. And these are knives that get used by Curtis himself and a lot of his law enforcement brothers and sisters. Next up is TKL Knives. This is the Night Stalker. This one has gotten so much carry. This is the knife that got me started carrying some knives up front, scout style, because it just melts into the waist. It doesn't print. It doesn't, and a lot of this has to do with how thin Tim makes these sheaths. Beautifully done sheaths here. Very thin. They're about the width of your belt. And then they ship with a plastic clip, or you can order the Discreet Carry Concepts clip. But this one really also got me into ring knives again. It just feels great. It draws great. And comes to bear very easily. This is AEBL. This was the first time he'd used stainless, at least on this model, I believe. Great in forward grip as well as reverse grip, and coated with that nickel boron coating that's used a lot in firearms that makes it just slip through materials. And yeah, I love this thing. TKL Knives, check him out. Made in Georgia, and he is blowing up. Beautifully done stuff. Speaking of which, here's the JB Knife and Tool out of Texas. This is the Ditch Pick, and it's a wicked little pick call, super light, 1/16 of an inch thick, flexible steel. It's 1095, I believe, and great G10 handle, beautifully contoured and designed to fit the hand for pick call style grip and fighting. Anything from JB Knife and Tool that has the moniker, or I guess I should say not the moniker, but the prefix ditch refers to the thickness. It's going to be super thin. So this is the Ditch Pick. Cool knife. Wanted this one forever and opted for that double edge. All right. Well, here's one hot on the heels of the of the Night Stalker. This is the MR1. It's the Night Stalker, but set up for Pakal style. This was a request from a Marine Raider Unit 1, I guess, on the West Coast, to do a Pakal style knife. And going through a whole bunch of different designs, they basically landed on the Night Stalker, just sharpened on the opposite side. So this is also a great carry, and also something that I really love and have carried a lot. But I have to remind myself which one I'm carrying when I'm carrying it, because you'd hate to be carrying a Pakal knife and need a regular one, or vice versa, and just not know what you got on you. Okay, next up, speaking of Pakal, I'll do this one. This is a custom Dirk Pinkerton Cave Bear. Also sort of based on Middle Eastern double-edged fighting knives, but also on the Pakal style thing. I saw this at Blade Show 2021, and I basically sprinted to it. I was like, no one better get to that knife before I get there. And they didn't, and I got it, and I love it. This one I can carry. I keep an ulti clip on that, just to keep it secure. I'm gonna plug this thing in. There we go. All right, couple more. Well, more than a couple, but let me get to this. This gentleman just stopped making knives. This is Dylan Grace of DG Blade Co. And he just recently announced he's stopping the knife game, which is disappointing. He does beautiful and very unique stuff. This is Buckeye Burl here with epoxy, and this is 1095 blade steel. I got this from him at Blade Show 2021. I love this little scalpel utility blade, so useful. And then he does a lot of really, he did a lot of very unique sort of utility stuff, fighting stuff, hunting stuff, all with this sort of aesthetic. And he did these beautiful Kydex-like leather sheaths that the knives just lock into. So, gonna miss you, Dylan. All right. Here is, this is what I spent Blade Show 2023 seeking out. This is the Stroop knives. It's got a name now. It didn't at the time, and I don't remember what the name is now. But this is the push dagger. I wanted a push dagger so badly, and then I found this, and I was like, oh, this is a perfect combination. It's a Stroop knife, and it's a push dagger. I love it. So chisel ground here, very steep grind. This is going to put a big hole in whatever you punch. Very comfortable. Some custom models he was showing off had thicker handles, and they were beautiful. Very, very nice looking handles, but this ergonomically was perfect for me, my sort of medium-sized hand. Now this I clip in the waistband, kind of at an angle, and then this sort of just comes over the belt like that. Very useful push daggers for certain things. Here's the Steingraber Performance Knives Shark in crewwear, CPM crewwear. I believe my only knife in crewwear. This thing is incredible. This thing is incredible. I'd love to blow this up and turn it into a kitchen knife, actually. Very, very sharp. I don't think I've ever done any sharpening or stropping on this, and I've used it quite a bit for holiday breakdown and IKEA trip breakdown of cardboard, but not in a while. But man, I like this thing. Carries nicely too, horizontally. This is a tops clip. All right, rib splitter, Draug. Draug is a Russian or something for zombie. Draug. I can't remember what it is, but look at this thing. It's just wickedness all day long. A beautiful design too. I like this sort of, swooshy design. Very smooth, contoured G10. This guy does some really cool stuff. I'm especially fond of his Pakal self-defense knives. And there's his maker's mark, rib splitter. I got this on the secondary market. Talked with him a little bit about coming on the show, and that kind of never happened. Great sheath. All right, here this is the Ron I'm sorry, this is the Prime from Ron Steele Jr. Sorry, sometimes the names after a while. Ron Steele does incredible stuff, and the Prime is a design of his that was a single edge drop point. I ordered one from him double-edged, as you can see. He did a great job double-edging that. Micarta in maroon with these black and gray sort of accents here. Very comfortable knife. Pretty thick in the handle. This would be a really good knife to actually use for utility because of how chunky it is and how great it feels in hand. Again, he's an artist. You got to check him out. I believe he started out as a graphic artist. A lot of these guys have been on my show. This guy too. And sometimes some of the details escape me. I believe he started as a graphic artist or is a graphic artist. And you can really see it in his work, especially in his handles. So, yep. Ron Steele, Prime, double-edged. All right, we're pulling into the station. We're getting there. We're getting there, people. We're getting there. Only a few more. All over the place. All right. Next up, from Bark River Knives, this is the Bush Sax. This one is great for EDC. You can actually, I made this sheath for it. It comes with a great little leather sheath, but I made a sheath with ulti-clip, and I like to carry it like this, on the waist band like this, so that you can pull it out and use it like a normal person, or you can tug it out and use it in pakal for self-defense. Great little knife. Bark River Knives just does beautiful stuff. Love that green micarta and the red. Very nice combination on the eyes. Mike Emler, Crazy Sharp. This is a knife he made, and it is crazy sharp. A chisel ground Kiridashi. I mean, it is blazingly sharp. Comes down to 1 atom at the behind the edge. So very, very, very thin. I had this set up for neck carry for a while, and then took it off. I like to just drop this in the pocket, and I have this cheerful little fob on it. Here is the Copus Designs Elvia. So this is a collaboration with Ed Calderon, and I had Bright for War, Mr. Josh Mason, do the Sukamaki wrap on this. Beautiful purple. I say beautiful all the time, don't I? Really nice looking purple ray skin. Really beefs up this handle. 154 cm. Here's the K-Bar TDI. This was a gift from my brother years and years ago. This used to live in my bedside gun safe, but I changed that out because I decided it was probably a bad idea to reach in and grab this accidentally. So eventually this moved out. But this is great under the belt. Pull it out and you have a nice little weapon in reverse grip. I know it's meant to simulate a gun for weapons retention, but I like it in reverse grip a lot. Here's the Warlock from MW Knives. Really nice, thick little knife. Great for the pocket. And you've got this beautiful handle here. You got to check him out. I'm sorry, Michael Williamson, I believe is his name. And I think I'm getting that wrong. Sorry. A great pocket sheath. WM Knives. MW Knives. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Check him out. He has a lot of cool stuff on Instagram. So I mentioned Josh Mason and Bright for War knives. This is one of his Quakens. Handmade, 0 ground, and then beveled. So incredibly sharp and keen. I love the Turkish knot here. Stop you from sliding up. This makes a great neck knife in this fabulous sheath. I like seeing the imprint of the Turkish knot there. Bonafide ray skin there, and a really nice Sukamaki wrap. Again, I love that style. It gives you such great grip because your fingers land in those valleys, and keep you there. All right, if you've lasted this long, there are only 5 more. All right, let's see. Here's the TheKnifeJunkie Guardian, a very thickly ground behind the edge self-defense knife meant for thrusting, making big holes in bad guys, basically. People, when this first came out, were like, hey, how are you going to cut anything? Like, this is not for breaking down boxes. This is for swiping at skin and jamming into skin and splitting skin and just being real. I love the purple and black. This was a gift from TKL Knives. Put my name on it. The Knife Junkie. Very cool. All right. Let's see. From 311 Forge. I'm sorry. This is yeah. Why am I? I've said too many names now. I'm spacing out. This is Michael Cahill, 311 Forge, 310 Forge. I knew that didn't sound right. 310 Forge, 420 Forge, bro. So this is Michael Cahill from 310 Forge, and he forges, if you listen to the show, some beautiful, beautiful buoys and other historical American blades. And then, like most knife makers who forge, he also has more of a production line. And this mini scalper is part of his production line. And this thing is awesome. I've been carrying this a lot. It's one of the few leather sheaths that I carry on a pretty much regular basis. And this will ride just to the right of my belt buckle. You can pull it out, have it reverse grip. Super thin, 1/16 of an inch, thick knife. Or you can turn it around and use it for whatever, but just extremely useful, very sharp, and very thin. I wanted to get several of his Bowie knives, but I couldn't afford them. Okay, here's a second to last knife in this list is the Bastinelli Anomaly. This is a collaboration with Bastien of Bastinelli Knives and Doug Marcaida. They did 4 different shapes, same handle, 4 different blade shapes. Of course, I love this one because it's that Pakal. You're tearing like a cat. All right, and last up, of course, these were in no particular order, but last up in this one here is the TKL Knives Combatant. Great little utility knife. I can just get 4 fingers on there. Nice swedge, very nice, robust tip. Look at that. He grinds his knives so perfectly. Great edge, nickel boron coating. I got my logo on there, very nice. And he does all these cool G10 burls now with the swirly handles. I love that. All right, this has been exhausting. Thank you so much for watching. I love small to medium fixed blade knives because they're the ones I carry the most, even though I collect swords and big knives too. But these ones I can vouch for are fantastic, and you can expect to see this grow before it shrinks. Thanks for watching.